The Falcons have plenty of control over their roster. They got a new GM in Terry Fontenot, new head coach in Arthur Smith. One of the questions that was flagged by ownership, Arthur Blank, press conference regarding the firing of Dan Quinn and Thomas Dimitroff. Blank said, hey, the next coach and GM are going to decide whether or not Matt Ryan and Julio Jones stay. And as to Matt Ryan specifically, Arthur Blank, the owner of the team, said, Ryan's going to have a voice in all of this too. Well, apparently it's all been worked out fairly quickly, according to NFL media. Both Ryan and Jones will be back. Now, the actual report is the Falcons plan to keep them, which if you're going to trade them, you can't come out and say, we plan to trade him. Although it didn't hurt the Lions ultimately, it's better to be coy. So just because they're saying they plan to keep them, plans can change at any time. We have no intent to trade Percy Harvin. Your intentions and your planning can change at any time, but at least for now, they're sending out the signals that they want to go forward with Ryan and Jones, even though Ryan's cap number for 2021, let me check this real quick.
Right?
$40.9 million is his cap number for 2021. That cries out for some sort of an extension, some sort of a restructuring that would drive it down. And if he says no thanks, that tells you where his mindset is. So this one is one to still keep an eye on, even though the Falcons are sending out the message that they plan to go forward with the guys they have.
Yeah, well, and it's like it's almost a $50 million dead cap hit too, right, Mike? To where
if you cut him,
if you cut him, okay,
that's if you trade him, if you trade him, I got to do the math here real quickly. I've done the number before. It looks like it's you had 18.6, you add 6 more, 24. It's still a healthy amount,
right?
To move him. I think it's around $37 million to trade him. But you still end up with $3 million less, and you're able to move on to the new quarterback. But I think it makes the most sense to keep him. It makes the absolute most sense to restructure his contract and kick that can down the road. But you have to assume he's going to say yes. We think he will because typically a player does. But if he has any business reason to want to push back and maybe get out, that's when you think about saying no.
Yeah, it's an interesting situation. It really is because. Yeah, Matt Ryan, he's at a point of his career where, he's starting to get up there a little bit. I don't think he's a definitive top 10 quarterback in football anymore. Not like a definitive. I think the last 5 years, maybe prior to this, he was definitive, top 7, top 8 quarterback in the league for what he was doing. Now I would go, okay, he's dancing around 10, 11, 9, whatever on certain people's lists, that category there. The money he's making, of course, is huge. There was a part of me that thought maybe, okay, Atlanta Falcons, Julio Jones, new coaching staff, maybe they rip the Band-Aid off and go, let's see what we can get for these guys out there on the open market and see if we can't add to our football team and kind of start over and start from scratch with a new head coach. I thought maybe there'd be a chance to do that. Obviously Arthur Blank thought maybe that would be a possibility too. But I understand them staying with it, I guess, Mike. I mean, taking money out of the conversation, do you agree with them sticking with it? I mean, I feel like the Falcons, almost like we were talking about the Bears, are closer to the top than the bottom. They got a lot of things to like about their roster. There's definitely depth issues and things like that they got to work on. But I guess what I'm saying is I can understand them staying with the status quo here. How about you?
Well, look, either way, they got cap issues. So we either have cap issues with our two-star players or we have cap issues without our two-star players. And it gets back to the conversation we were having yesterday about the Vikings and Kirk Cousins. The Vikings have a big decision to make about Cousins. His $35 million salary for 2022 becomes fully guaranteed on March 19. But if you move him, what the hell are you going to do at quarterback? For the Falcons, because they didn't do a complete and total free fall last year,
right.
It's not like they're in easy position to go out and draft their next Matt Ryan. This is one of the reasons why tanking is actually a good thing for a team that is done to consider doing, because they're caught in this gulf now. Pete, let us know where the Falcons pick.
They got to be top 5 or 6, though, right? Right in that area.
But they won it. They won too many games. They're not going to have one of the prime picks. They won too many games down the stretch. I'd say they're in the top 10. Oh, they're 4. Well, still, the best quarterbacks are going to be gone. You're going to have to move up if you want to try to get one of the top quarterbacks most likely. It puts him in a tough spot. And again, plan to keep to me is different from actually definitely will be on the game day roster.
Plan to keep means we're planning on keeping him, but if you call with a great offer, we'll change our plans. And then we'll think about drafting a quarterback at number 4 or doing that. There should be somebody there. I don't think it's going to be like Lawrence, Justin Fields, the kid Zach Wilson, right, from BYU. I'm sorry, I don't have all these college guys' names ingrained in my brain yet. I don't think it's going to be 1, 2, 3 just right off the bat of the draft. So I would think sitting there at 4 that they can certainly get a quarterback. Now, whether they like one of those other guys other than Trevor Lawrence, who I think is really right now the only slam dunk guy you could just go, every team likes him. Everybody knows he's a stud. Everybody else is, I think, still doing their homework on the other guys. But it is a possibility. And that's where I thought maybe they could go this offseason and kind of just start a new era there in Atlanta, but it doesn't sound like that's going to happen.
Yeah, I've been doing more math on this dead cap number. It may actually be more than $40 million. Not 49. It's not 49,
right?
But it may be more than 40 when you put all this together. And this is what happens when you restructure. See, you restructure to reduce a guy's cap number. Those cap dollars don't just disappear into thin air. Those cap dollars get moved into future years. So there's always a reckoning. And the problem this year, because the cap is likely going to go down, that reckoning is going to be more painful, which makes it imperative to push as much of the reckoning as possible into future years. You have to have Ryan on board with that.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.